Well, aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Good morning. It is September 2nd, 2022, and you are live with us on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, everyone. I've been looking forward to this. So happy to see you all. And of course, we got let's say we're going to warm up. We're in the pre warm up phase. We're going to give this about 5 minutes or so. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this on a pre-recorded basis, you may want to skip forward 5 minutes. But if you skip forward 5 minutes, you're going to miss out on meeting all of our friends around. And we have someone special here. So let's okay, everyone guess what's going on over here. So we had Scott, who's with us from the island of Oahu, and we have Kelley, who's with us from the Big Island. Dylan can't make it. So Dylan, thank you for sending Kelley because she's awesome, and we're excited to have everybody and introduce you all to Kelley. Let's do this first. We have a bunch of our friends who jumped on earlier. Before we're going to go around, we're going to warm up our mics in a minute over here. But first, I want to say aloha to let's see, Kaili from Molokai, and welcome. A new profile. This is the hotspot. You've been a regular audience member, and it's great to see you again. And finally, I get to put a face and a name behind the thing, which was formerly the hotspot Molokai. So great, excellent. And Jim, Uncle Jim, is back with us. Aloha, everyone. Beautiful day in New York City. Not nearly as good as in paradise. Never. New York is New York. New York is awesome. Hawaii's not New York. New York will never have weather like Hawaii, Jim. Love you. Welcome. And Barbara is back with us. Welcome, Barbara. After 10 years, I'm visiting Hawaii in October. Excellent. I'm the senior who taught on Oahu back in the mid-50s. Wow. Mid-50s. Here's what's going to be interesting, Barbara. Is this your first time back since the fifth? No, you said after 10 years. Okay, so 10 years you've been here 10 years ago. Welcome. Hawaii calls always and always. You know, there's something about Hawaii for certain people that once you've been here, it never leaves you, and you just have got to come back because this is the only place. It's the only place that does it. Joan is back with us. Auntie Joan. Aloha, everyone, and Hau'oli Labor Day weekend. Absolutely looking forward to it. What do you all got planned for Labor Day weekend? I'd like to kind of hear what you folks have got going on. Hawaii always makes it great to have a 3 or 4 day weekend, depending on what you're going to be doing. Paul is back with us. Paul, Ventura County, California. Welcome back, Paul. Good to see you, buddy. And Adam, hello, hello from Rainier, Washington. Adam, first time commenter. Welcome to our show. Enjoy. You're going to meet a lot of good, fun people here. And aloha, Ina Riley. I think I know who that is. Happy Aloha Friday. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad you're here with us. Love the handprint. Pat McKenna is back. Hey, Pat, how's it, buddy? Aloha from the Ninth Island. No more Germany. Heading to Oahu next Wednesday. Patrick's making the move. Scott partnered up with him, and Patrick has announced he's making it. Wes, hey Wes, welcome. Wes is an alumni, as is Auntie Joan. Wes is an alumni of the Islander Ohana, hanging out from Oahu. Welcome, Wes. Good to see you, buddy. Jeremy's back. Aloha. So the whole gang's here. See, so Kelley, we're in good shape. We're hanging out with everybody. Auntie Joyce is here. Happy. Auntie Joyce is just happy. That's it. That's it right there. She probably was going to say Happy Labor Day, but happy is the right word. Maximum Salad. Aloha from town. Jess and Wes. Excellent. Jess and Wes. Jess, give us the. I want to know what the Maximum Salad meaning is. Is there a company that's behind it? And hosting Troop 101 in Aloha Aina o Kamilo Nui for the long weekend. Now that's going to be cool. So this is Kamilo Nui is an area on East Honolulu, East Oahu, that is just the whole east part of the island is absolutely amazing. This is great. Happy Labor Day. Yes, from heat wave in the Bay Area. Well, welcome, Joyce. I'm glad that you were able to make the heat wave. All right, let's warm up our microphones. Let's kind of start with our special guest for today. Kelley, fill us in. What you doing? What's going on? Let everybody know who you are.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Kelley Fuller. I'm over here on the Big Island. I know I have some really big shoes to fill, and I work on Dylan's team. So I'm so excited that I have the pleasure to speaking with you guys today. Thank you for having me on. I love the Islander Ohana. I've had the pleasure of working with a bunch of you find your little piece of paradise over here on the Big Island. So very excited to be here. This is a great show. And yeah, coming from my lanai here, I am a condo realtor. I'm a specialize in condos. So I have a condo here in Kailua, Kona, and I'm right here off of Ali'i Drive and coming to you from my lanai here.
Man, did you rehearse that or something? That was like a perfect intro. It's like right on the money. And it's kind of fun because we can actually see in if I look in the reflection, I could almost kind of see, yeah, right. I can almost kind of see the some kind of a nice view there. Anyway, welcome, Kelly. It's really great to see you. And Dylan, if Dylan's when Dylan will be watching this, Dylan, you did good, man. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. Scott, fill us in, man. The colors are looking good, the camera's looking good. What's happening?
Yeah, so I didn't talk about this last time. I got a lemon lime ficus here um, as a new plant, my new friendly addition. But I'm coming to you from my shoebox. My place isn't as glamorous as Kelley's now, so I'm not on my lanai anymore. So I'm in a little shoebox room, and this is my office. I've actually been up. It's been an actually interesting week because from the development side, I started to swing things back up again, a meeting with the team of people that we put in place, and then the investors, kind of talking to everybody about getting money and capital together. And in talking with my team, I really realized it was what we talked about last week. DPP now is running a year on being able to give out building permits, so we're having to actually second guess. Part of what we're looking to do is bring housing to Oahu, which is what we need, right? And we're having to actually now second guess that thought because DPP is taking over a year to get building permits done. And you start to look at it and the process is just broken. And we're waiting for Belangiardi at this point to step in and reorganize because I know the local contractors are starting to get frustrated. So anyway, that's kind of been my thing. I've been running around all week trying to figure out the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah, well, DPP, everybody stands for Department of Planning and Permitting, and these are the folks that we have to go through to kind of get our permits. And well, Scott, I wish you best. I know that is not not fun nor trivial. Hey, Auntie Joy says, "Welcome, Kelley. Love part of Dylan's team." Hey, everybody. By the way, I should have said, hey, everyone, say hello to Kelley, everybody. Let's give Kelley a shout out. Judy is here with us. Judy is also an Islander Ohana member, and Judy has worked with Dylan's team, probably worked with Kelley. Aloha, Judy. Good to see you. And Kelley Collins, looking forward to learning more real estate insight. Hey, Kelley, that's what this is about. So look, if you've got a question, Kelley, pop it in the comments right now. If you got something that you'd like to know, let's get targeted. Let's get like in it, where we're talking about this immediate gratification. Let's get some immediate benefit out of there. So, all right, gang, look, it's 9:02. We're going to move on to the next segment over here. Let's move on and get to our got the news going on over here. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So got some fun stuff. It's kind of always fun to kind of pull, well, first of all, I want to thank you all because I normally never would go through the news like I do it now, but now because we do the show every other Friday, it sort of forces me. One of my rituals is I kind of go through and kind of pull out what's interesting, and this is really fun. So now I kind of I stay fully informed. Anyway, so here's what's going on. So the World Series win with Aloha. So get this. So this is for baseball fans. The Hawaii Little League, the Hawaii Little Leagues. I don't even know I should know what the name of the team was, right? Didn't do a good job of that. But anyway, Hawaii won the Little League World Series, and apparently they're like a really winning team. They've won, I think, like three World Series or something like that. And this time around, they totally kicked butt. It says here for the last week and a half, no team came close to Hawaii. They had a 13-3 win in 4 innings. This was the championship, the World Series game. They played Curacao in it, and they just killed it. 6 games, all victories in the series. The closest margin was 4 runs. Hawaii outscored opponents, get this, 60-5. So the Little League World Series, they absolutely killed it. But here's what the fun part was. What really kind of stuck out to me, and here's the wins with Aloha. So here's the cool part that really is such a reflection of local culture and local ways. So moments after the Honolulu Little League defeated the local team, Kauai Hau, to claim the Hawaii State Championship. So this was earlier in the series for the state championship. The players were invited to enjoy a big dinner with their opponents. Now, when do you hear about that? When do you hear about a winning team trouncing the other guys, and when they're done saying, "Hey, come on over, let's have some dinner together"? That is winning with Aloha, and I thought that was like the coolest part about the whole story. So thought you all would enjoy that. It's a great part, a great reflection of what Hawaii is really all about. Okay, so moving on. There's apparently, and Kelley, I don't know if you heard about this story, so if you feel like commenting on it when your segment comes, but there's some interesting development controversy in South Kona. Apparently, there's been some construction work that has started on a 324-acre luxury resort area in Opi'ihale, which is South Kona. Just I got a ring from somewhere just south of Miloli'i. And apparently there's like construction that started, but there's no permits. No permits have been made. And there's a website that these guys, that I'm not going to tell you what the website name is because it seems kind of fishy, but there's a website. Well, I'll tell you what, it's Invest in Kona. Y'all adults, go take a look at it. Investinkona.com. And they're apparently asking for donations or investments. So it's kind of weird. They're like asking for investments or donations to get the thing started. They don't have a permit, but they've started there's some bulldozers on the property. So it's kind of interesting. I'm curious where this is going to go. I thought that was kind of interesting. Access fees are coming. We've been talking about this for a long time, gang. Access fees are coming. There is no doubt about it in my mind. Access fees meanings they're going to start making visitors pay for going to basically parking at parking lots or going to common events. This is, to me, it's a done deal. It's not legally a done deal, but it's all but here. And interestingly enough, on Maui, Maui's even going one step further. Maui's saying that you have to show your residency. It's not Hawaii residence, it's Maui residence. So you have to show a Maui zip code. So if you're quote local with Hawaii driver's license, Hawaii resident, when you go to Maui, you're going to be just like another visitor. This is coming. And so just all be aware of it. And there's an interesting collection of statistics that are coming. In fact, I've got this to share with you guys. Here's a question for you all. So here's an Ohana question, and we'll cover the answers later on in the show. So there was they took some surveys about local resident sentiment, and one of the question was they took a survey of people that support eliminating vacation rentals, illegal vacation rentals on the island. So here's the question for the Ohana. Put your guesses in the comments. What percent polled, what percent surveyed are in favor of eliminating illegal vacation rentals? Put your percentage in the answers. Let's see who comes closest. What percentage of residents polled are in favor of eliminating illegal vacation rentals? That is the question. So pop that one in and let me know what you think. Shrinking beachfronts. Scott, I'd like to get your comments on this one. It comes around if you know anything about this issue. Looks like they're considering increasing the setbacks from the ocean. Looks like they're going. Currently, it's a 40-foot setback from the shoreline, what's defined as shoreline, and they're considering moving that between 60 and 130 feet. So that you're going to have if you've got a beachfront property, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but Scott, I don't know if you heard about that, but if you have I'd love to hear from you. And tourism is back. The numbers are back just the way that they were before. Pretty much, tourism is like right back at pre-COVID levels. It bounced back really almost immediately. And the reason why it bounced back almost immediately, if you look at that weather over the past for the next week, it's perfect weather all the time. It's probably cooler in Hawaii. I'm curious about that. So look at the temperatures, gang. So for this week, we're going to be in looks like the low 80s, 83, 82, 83s for the highs. Is this warmer or cooler than where you live? I'd like to know about that. So fill us in. All right, let's get back, everyone. Let's go through our roundup over here. We're going to get the local perspective. Why don't we go counterclockwise? We'll go first to Scott, and then we'll go to Kelley. Scott, give us the update. What's happening with Oahu? Market update. Anything you want to share? If you have any input on that setback or anything else you'd like to talk about Oahu over the past few weeks.
Yeah, the setback makes no sense. I mean, most properties that are going to be oceanfront are going to be our residential zoning, our zoning, and you're probably talking a lot that's 100 feet deep. So if you put a setback at 130 feet deep, how are you going to build on that property? You'd have to be on the back neighbor's property or in the street at that point. So a lot of that doesn't make sense. The other component is the flood component, where you typically go up rather than back to deal with the flood zone issues. they had dealt with this before. The other way you get around this, rather than tearing down the house and rebuilding new, is you leave a certain percentage of the existing house there and basically just rebuild brand new around that. And that way it's a repair permit or an addition and not a full-blown new home permit. So they'll figure out a way to get around that. So that doesn't, I don't see that making a whole lot of sense. And what is it going to do other than prevent people from being able to build on their property? As far as market stats go, I've talked about it before. There's restriction in inventory, or sales are slowing down. Well, I wanted to talk about the luxury market today. So 3 million to 10 million, and then 10 million plus is the ultra luxury. And it's interesting, when I dove into the numbers, the 3 million to 10 million range, sales are actually up 4%. We had 104 sales last year to date, and we have 108 this year. So the luxury market is still very strong. On top of that, number of bid ups, 28% of those homes sold this year were bid up above the asking price, and we have 6 months of inventory, which is less than half of what a balanced market would be. So that just regular luxury market 3 to 10 million range is strong. Sellers are getting 100% of what they're asking for properties on average. But the ultra luxury market, which is 10 million plus, is where it's really exciting or really interesting. We're up 39% in number of sales for $10 million plus properties this year. And Oahu is leading the state in the number of ultra luxury sales with 18. The highest price home sale was a little more than 23 million in Lanikai, and the highest price condo sale was a little more than 12 million, and that was in Park Lane. And 65% of the buyers are cash buyers. So significant strength in the luxury market. And part of that is going to be, people have cash, you're in an inflationary position. Where do you put your cash? Where do you invest your cash to hedge against inflation? And real estate becomes one of those components. One other thing, September 7th, by the way, is the date the Japanese can travel fully unrestricted. So now we should continue to see that international and Japanese buyer on Oahu is the number one foreign buyer. So we should be able to see, more or less, they should be able to come back pre-COVID numbers without any restrictions, without any hesitation. So that's going to be an interesting date to see. And there's also a luxury condo that my gut tells me they're going to get approval on September 7th at the HCDA meeting. So could kind of coincide with that component for being able to announce that new tower. So interesting stuff.
That is fascinating. I think it's pointing to a trend, a continuing trend, which we've been seeing for a long time. I wish I had an economist on the show to kind of share their insight. But Hawaii seems to be kind of getting further. I don't know what the word is, but we're getting a influx of very, very high net worth individuals. An outflux of middle class, and so we're kind of being left with sort of the very, very, very high upper class and the folks that are lesser off. Interesting contrast going over there. Thanks, Scott, for the input. We've got a bunch of I mentioned so before we get to you, Kelley, I want to give what the answer is. We had a bunch of great percentages that popped in. So the answer is 71%. 71%. I think Joan hit at 70. Yeah, Joan said 70. I think Joan was the closest one. I believe 71% are in favor of eliminating vacation rentals. This is going to be an interesting political issue as this goes on. That's why these user fees are coming, gang. So if you're gonna make a trip to Hawaii, you want to do it before these things kind of go up, because it is coming. There's no doubt about it. And Kelley, there's a question for you if you want to hit this, if you can. Norm, who is a member of the Islander Ohana, an alumni, says we're gonna need to rent on the Big Island as we look for our home. Wondering how soon before moving we should look for a long-term rental, 90 days or so. Anyway, that's Norm's question. But Kelley, give us the update. Whatever you want to share from the Big Island. Any kind of stats you got, or any kind of news, if you heard about that development in South Kona or anything else, go ahead.
Yes, that development in South Kona, that 300 some acres, is definitely trending in some Facebook groups. Right now we're seeing it's a lot of he said, she said. I've heard rumors that they don't have enough water. They need to change the zoning and apply for special permits. So not too sure what's going to happen with that. It is located down south, so it's a really remote off the grid area that they're looking to build this development, and they are looking for investors. So if this does happen, it's a long-term project. It's going to happen a ways from now. So yes, let's talk about some condo stats. So I'm a condo girl. I'm in the trenches of the condos every day. And here I have some stats for comparing last year and this year for the sales. So last year we had a sales volume of 67 million. Looking at this past month, August of this year, we're at 56 million. So you can see that the market has shifted. The sales volume is going down, as well as the number of sales. So last year, August, we had 83 condos sell. And this past month, we had 63. So the numbers are going down there, as well as the median, though. Although the number is going down, we have a little bit of a higher median price. So last year, we median 484,000 for a condo. And this year we're looking at 540. So the median is going up, even though the transaction numbers has gone down. And this was very interesting to me to see that the final list price to sold price. So there for a while, we were looking at 100%. So if you were looking to purchase a condo, you were paying more than likely sales price of the ask price or over asking. And we're not seeing that anymore. Right now, this past month, we had 98.9% the final list price to sold. So me being in the trenches, seeing it, right now, there is negotiations happening. The market shift, there's negotiations. People are getting it at list price, if not under. So very interesting to see.
Thanks, Kelley. That's some a great stats, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit of that South Kona thing. This seems to be a general trend. We've been seeing a sort of a softening, not a dropping, but a sort of a softening of the market, except for the multi. What did you call it, Scott? The ultra
ultra luxury, 10 million
ultra
plus.
Is that like ultra luxury, like ultra mega? I don't know if the two are. The word ultra just kind of popped in my head. I couldn't help it. Hey, Kelley, do you have some? What would you tell Norm, who's kind of saying, hey, look, how soon before moving should we look for a long-term rental? What kind of a lead time? So if Norm is looking to rent on the Big Island, and as they look for their home, what kind of advice would you give Norm, best practice, to kind of get that rental kind of squared away?
Yes, absolutely. Like everywhere, rentals are hard to come by. I recommend as soon as you find out what area you want to be renting in, definitely reach out to a property manager sooner than later. Get on Facebook Marketplace, start making those connections. A lot of times I've been seeing for rentals, people will put it up a week before they need somebody or maybe 6 months in advance. So it's definitely good to just keep your ears open and get in there, make some connections. As well as if you are flexible with where you're looking to rent, if you're not specific to one area, that gives you a lot more options and maybe gives you a little bit more time that you don't have to start looking right away.
One thing that's a really great point. Facebook Marketplace is really helpful. Norm, my to chime in with what Kelley's saying, my recommendation would be get a look on Facebook Marketplace just to give you enough feel for what's going on with the market and how those rentals are popping up and kind of what it's looking like. I would, because of the nature of the game, I would get some kind of a short-term vacation rental in like an Airbnb or something like that. In some, in the general range of where you're going to go, get an Airbnb so you're there. Give hopefully some flexibility, a couple of weeks, and during those 1 or 2 weeks that you're there, hunt like crazy and pick up something as soon as you can, and then you could that would be my recommendation about it. So, thanks, Norm, for the question. Thank you, Kelley, for sharing that insight. So there's a couple of shout outs here. First of all, so Kelley Bishop, who is a member of the Islander Ohana, and I guess it seems that you guys know each other. So Kelley says, I'll from Kelley to Kelley. So that's really kind of cool. Master says hello. And as a condo queen, Jesse is thank you, Jesse, for showing up. It's great to have wonderful fans. We take Hawaii's weather so for granted, right? We're just like, it's another beautiful day. It's going to be in the 80s or whatever. Yeah, of course. But check these out. These temperatures are like crazy. So Norm Livermore, 108 by Monday. I can't even imagine that. Christine's 90 plus 90 plus in Denver, mid 90s in Austin. 109 to 114 degrees in Stockton, 110 in LA, 105 in California. It's like, I tell you, man, this is, again, we take it for granted, and that's just the way that we are as humans. But man, it, yeah, it's like it's a heat wave, gang, and heat waves come. They every so often we get a heat wave, and that's the way it is. And Joan, thank you, Joan, NT Joan, for chiming in. They not only won, they crushed it. Even announcers said they played with true Aloha spirit. Joan, thank you for giving us the input. It sounds like you watched a few of the games or stayed in it, which is terrific. And yeah, congrats to the kids. Max Salad out. Hey, maximum salad, max salad, max out, max out, MAC, macaroni salad. That's a wordplay. Sorry, in just the stream of consciousness, I can't help it. Is it Kylie or Kaili? I don't see if there's a glottal stopper there now. I've been getting into pronouncing Hawaiian words, so now I'm reevaluating my words. So is it number one? Is it Kaili, or is it number two, Kylie? I'd like to know. Kylie says, we're listening on the shower when this show came on, moving to Oahu October 1st, taking the Abe Lee class starting November. Tell Abe I said hello. Make sure you tell Abe that Peter K says hello. Starting in November, hope to be licensed by end of December. Thanks again for all the info. Yep, we're looking forward to it. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. All right. Let's see if we got anybody else here, and then we got to say hello to over here. Oh, Auntie Joyce says, Norm, I did the same thing before Dylan found us a home. I looked at condos that took people over 65 and deal directly with the owner in Keaho. So there you go. And Norm says you just hibernate all day. Yeah, I guess that's where we're at, right? Oh, thank you for the pronunciation. It's Kelley. Okay. Oh, there's the glottal stop. Okay, Kaili. There you go. All right, Kaili. Thank you for the glottal stop. The glottal stop makes all the difference in the word. Kaili. Thank you. I've got it now. Kaili. All right, excellent. All right, gang. I think it's time to move on. We did our market update. I want to do a quick show plug. Hey, look, if you've gotten here because you got the notification on the newsletter and they gave you the links to the show, welcome. If you did not, you want to go to livinginhawaii.com. You're going to have a dialog box pop up. Put your email address in. Get on the newsletter. You'll get all the notifications and all the invites to future shows. So glad that you're all here. And let's move on. Let's see. Jenna says we're having nice Hawaii weather like here in East Texas, 75 degrees and a gentle rain. Okay. Well, Kinaya is with us, who's an Islander alumni, an alumni from the Islander Ohana. And Kinaya was mentioned, you said Kinaya in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, right? So interesting. We got, Texas is a country unto itself, so I'm sure it's got microclimates and in many ways the way Hawaii does. All right, hey, let's move on. I was going through some. I got a big question. I kind of wanted to kind of start us off with on some kind of a discussion. It'd be interesting to kind of see, Kelley, especially what you've. So, Kelley, I didn't ask, how many years have you been on the Big Island now?
4. I've been here 4 years.
Okay, great, thanks. So I don't know if it's been long to see a shift, but what popped up was that I saw a story that there's a rising crime on Oahu, and there was a rise in violent crime. Let's see if I get the answer up here. So violent crime is up by nearly 6%, and murder rate is up high too as well, 30%. It's kind of a disturbing kind of a statistic. On the other hand, property crime, burglaries, and car thefts have dropped in that same period. One of the comments that they gave was like, the COVID thing has kind of thrown everything off because everything was quiet. People were isolated before during the COVID period, so crime was low. And now that we're kind of all out, crime is rising. It's just interesting though, because Scott, I want to get your take on this. So here's the big question. The sense of, Scott, you've been here for a long time, over 20 years. What is your sense? Let's just, I see we'll have to limit this to Oahu and Kelley when we get to you. If you have any stories, you'll share all for it. What's your sense, Scott? Is it a cultural thing going on? That's kind of what popped up in my head, right? Is this a cultural thing or is this a COVID fluke? Have things really changed? Is there a different vibe? Have things kind of gone on? it seems to me that there's more violent stories. The violent stories in Hawaii, on Oahu, used to be a rarity. The way I remember it, they were a rarity. It was like a rare thing going on when you'd hear anything like a gunshots or whatever. I'm seeing it a lot more now. I don't know if it's just me being aware of it. I don't know if it's the media. I don't know if it's the culture. Scott, what's your take on it?
Yeah, well, so I still look at it a little bit. I mean, how many murders do we have a year? What is it in the state? I think it's like 45 or something. It's significantly lower than any other state. In fact, I think by national average, we're half of what, the national average would be for murders per capita and whatnot. So, it's relatively speaking, if you go up 30% on that for the year, then okay, yeah. But the number is still relatively low compared to a lot of areas. I've always looked at it this way. This is a state where family is important. We have a lot of multi-generational living. People look out for their neighbors much more so than in areas where I was growing up, on the mainland and things. And people look out for each other. It's a small island community. And therefore, if the neighbor's son's getting out of line, the community kind of embraces them in that kind of sense, or looks out for them. And I tend to think that there's less violent crime here than somewhere else, due to that kind of cultural effect of taking people in that are kind of going by the wayside. I see this more, the spike being more of an economic component and a COVID hangover. Like you mentioned before, we're having more wealthy people come into the state and more middle class leaving, which it's getting harder economically and job wise for people. So therefore you're going to have more of the petty crime component that increases due to an economic factor. But there's not a neighborhood that I feel uncomfortable going into here on Oahu on the real estate side. Even some of what we would consider some of our rougher neighborhoods, I've never had an issue with it. I drive a Mercedes SUV. And I'm in business clothes and I don't feel uncomfortable. I still don't to this day. So I haven't noticed it. And I've always felt much more safe here than in other places. And when I've flown to other cities and watched the news, man, it's like the first 5 stories are murder, right? And that doesn't happen on the news here. We have it occasionally, right? When there's a story that is out of the norm, and gun control is heavily regulated here too. So there's a lot less people that have guns in Hawaii.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's a good insight. It's going to remain to be seen. This could very. I hope it's a COVID effect. Kelley. So what I was thinking, since you've been here for 4 years, where did you come from, and how does the vibe? Why don't you speak to how the vibe in Kona feels, crime wise, versus the vibe where you came from? What's the biggest difference that you've noticed?
Yes, so I'm from a small town in Ohio, so there is not very much crime there, thankfully. But I would say I feel I've lived in Kona for 4 years, and I feel very safe here. We have great public forces, we have great police officers, and I've always felt safe here. Nowhere that I don't feel comfortable walking in the night or going into town at night. So to speak on that, I would agree with Scott that in some of the other neighborhoods, there is more petty crime happening due to economic, and you're going to hear a little bit more of the car thefts than you would hear. But other than that, I would say it's an economic phase we're going through right now due to, the times. So yes, but I feel safe here in Kona, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm able to walk to the beach at night, and I feel good about it.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelley. I appreciate that. Hey, we got a question from Paul. Paul says, "Hey, on the mainland, water shortages were in the news this week. Is that ever a problem on the islands?" Maybe you guys can speak to this, Paul. Not right now. There have been some times when there's been some dry spells, some droughts. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Maui's. There are some drought-like conditions, if I'm not mistaken, on Maui, maybe Molokai as well, where we've asked to kind of cut back on our water usage. I haven't heard anything about water usage cutbacks here. There was a little bit of a thing on based on the Red Hill issue, where they turned off some pumps and were getting us ready to kind of cut back our water usage. That never materialized. Scott and Kelley, you guys want to add to that? Scott?
I've never on Oahu. I've never dealt with the shortage component. In fact, even working with some developers and stuff, when they're going to get, you got to go to Board of Water Supply to get water commitments and water meters. And I've never seen an issue with them not issuing it. I've seen it on the Big Island, but when I was doing work over there, but somebody had told me it's because they don't have enough pumps, or the pumps don't work as well, that it's not necessarily a water shortage issue. But I do know we used to deal with it a couple of times when I lived on the Big Island, where they asked to conserve water, but mostly I've never had an issue with it. And I've been here, 23 years now? You're muted, Peter.
Thank you. You've been a little mess in your mic. So, so Kelley, have you had any the time that you've been there? Have you heard of any kind of water shortages or cutbacks, or currently, at least for this season? No, right? Yeah.
No, not in the towns. Nope. I mean, you'll hear it from time to time. A big chunk of the island is on catchment. And if it doesn't rain, that can cause water shortages. So you will hear that from time to time in those communities. But when you're on the county water, no, I haven't heard.
Okay. Yeah. So Paul, hope that answers your question. The basic answer is yeah, not really. It's not been. It does not occur. Thankfully, we're fortunate enough where we have a fair amount of a good amount of water supply. All right. There was another question that I want to pop it in. Oh yeah, here it is. Thanks, Jeff. By the way, folks, this is what we're here for. This is what makes the show hopefully interesting. Put your questions in. If you got a question about anything about real estate, pop it in. So Jeff asks us, hey, is it difficult or expensive to demolish a home on Oahu? Scott, you want to take that? Of course.
Yeah, not difficult. I mean, you got to get a demo permit from DPP, from Department of Planning and Permitting. The main things are, when you're going to demo it, you got to make sure there's no lead paint or asbestos. So if it's an older home, you got to be careful with that. I was quoted for the front house pre-COVID, probably. It was roughly in the 20 to 25 grand that it was quoted. We ended up doing it through someone else for a little bit less than that, but yeah, costs have gone up since COVID. I even just was looking at my roll-off cost the other day for a big dumpster, which is what you would get when you're doing that demo. And the cost had gone up about 15-20% just on those alone. So yeah, that's kind of the general range, 20, 25,000. But you got to be careful with some of the, lead paint and asbestos. Oh, you're muted.
I hate it when that happens. We got a couple of comments that were chiming into the rising crime topic. Let me see if I get this right here. I forget what's the right graphic. We'll just do it this way. Okay. So Michelle Cook says, hey, I think it's been mostly domestic violence and or mental illness related on Oahu. There's definitely been a mental illness thing. The mental illness, of course, tracks almost directly with the homeless problem. And that'll be interesting. Michelle, if you have any stats to kind of throw us, that'd be great to see. Norm says, Scott, the difference in the news in Hawaii compared to the San Francisco Bay Area is huge. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right, Norm? I mean, Scott mentioned this, and you hit it right. See, in Hawaii, we've been spoiled, right? Because like you never hear anything in Hawaii. So like, one person, one sort of violent crime and on Oahu is like front page news. It's the top story. It's the whole big deal. And so, whereas on the mainland, it's just like, it's another day. So, I was born in Chicago. So, Chicago has become sadly legendary for what it's been. Auntie Joyce says, I left the Bay Area mostly about safety because of crime. We had to quit going to plays because of being accosted, even on a crowded street. Feel safe on the Big Island. Yeah, it's really, San Francisco was really, I loved San Francisco. I love the thought of San Francisco. It was my second choice if I was going to move somewhere, but Hawaii won. All right, gang. Pop in your questions. Let's take a few. We got some slides. I've got some prepped. Let's take these and kind of see where we can go with it. We got so this is a question from Rich of New Jersey, and Rich says, "Hey, is it realistic and possible to buy a piece of property with water views for $200,000 or less and build a small 800 square foot home for say another $200,000?" So Rich is asking basically if you could, can you spend $400,000 for a home, $200K for the property, $200K for the house, I'm curious to see what Scott's got to say about that. So Scott, if you here's a question. So Scott, how would you fit someone in? Why don't we do this? Let's go with Kelley first, and then we'll go with Scott. So Kelley, if someone said, hey, look, we're looking for something with, give or take for 200K and 200K or 400K total, what would you how would you respond to that? And then we'll kind of go with Scott's response. Go ahead, Kelley.
Absolutely. That on the Big Island, we have lots of opportunities in this price range, specifically on the east side over in Puna district. It's beautiful over there. In the single family homes, you can get a 2-bedroom for roughly 400,000. In terms of a view, it just depends on what type of beautiful view you would like. So those homes might not have an ocean view, but over there it is a rainforest. You have beautiful trees and coconut trees and avocado trees, beautiful lush, and you can have a gorgeous garden view in that price range. So absolutely. I did look last night, and I believe there was like 60 properties on the market in that price range. So there's definitely opportunity over here to have a really nice home in that price range.
Thank you, Kelley, for taking the extra time. I knew you reviewed this slide ahead of time and prepped for the show and went and looked it up. So I really I recognize that, and I really appreciate that you did that. So Rich, you've got some possibilities on the big one for 400K. Seems like it's sort of, frankly, I also love the idea of how you couched it. Depends what kind of a view you're talking about. Yeah, the view is relative, right? If you want the killer ocean view where you're the only person around, I'm probably not going to find that. But if you like the jungle view, if you like the forest view, plenty of that. Scott, how would you respond to Rich, who's looking for something in the 400K range?
Yeah, absolutely not on Oahu. And so I looked up basically entry-level homes on Oahu, and this is going to put you out in the outer reaches, country areas, Leeward Coast, North Shore, Windward Coast, and we're starting at 650,000. That's no view. Anything that's going to have a view is 1.1 million and up. Ocean view, I should say. You're going to be at 1.1 million up. And then, whatever you buy the lot for, 800 square feet home to build on Oahu is probably going to run you $300 a square foot, because the smaller the home gets, the higher the price per square foot is going to go up. And that's just talking the construction component. Then you're going to have design and permitting. And if there's any kind of structural component, or it's not on just a flat level surface, and you're having to do some kind of structural component that's going to add on to it. So you're not able to build for 200,000 here. And then on top of it, your land costs are much more than 200,000. They're probably in the 500-600 range.
Thanks, Scott, for the clarity. I think it seems that we've been training Paul Lucas well, because Paul says 400K on Oahu buys you the lumber, right? Yeah, that's kind of what you were saying, Scott. I think you've got that. Max Salad says we have a killer view for that price range, but it's a condo. Well, there you go. So you can do that. You can. Scott, what about is a condo at 400 these days? Is there something doable there?
Absolutely. I usually tell people start off at 300,000 minimum for a 1-bedroom on Oahu in a decent building, security and whatnot, and go up from there. And then, you get on a high floor. Absolutely. I mean, Wes and Jess did that. They got a phenomenal view of Diamond Head and expansive views across the city with very few tall buildings close by. They got a great unit.
Well, there you go. So there's a you can't get the house with the property and the view for 400 on Oahu, but you can get something. And Max Salad over here has given us that they have got a killer view for that price range, but it's a condo. So there you go. You've got the killer view. Excellent. Hey, thanks. So Kailua says, under the mentorship of a great real estate company, Scott, how likely is it that a first-year realtor can sell one home a month given all the competition and lack of connections? Scott, you want to hit that one?
Yeah, most people don't. I mean, it usually takes 5 years for someone to start to build a consistent business. And anytime real estate is a process, not an event. So anybody you talk to today is probably 6 months to a year out to begin with. So you definitely have to have some planning and budgeting. Most people enter the business with zero budget and zero business plan, and that's a very difficult thing to do. So I mean, if you want to talk, get in touch with me on the side, and I'll kind of walk you through it. Especially since I've been in the business 20 years, I can kind of give you the ins and outs and what to be prepared for.
Thank you, Scott. That's very kind of you. Maybe we should start doing a live show on how to be an amazing realtor. Kelley, is there anything you want to kind of share about this to help out Kaili on her quest to become a realtor? Anything you've kind of just jumped into the business? You're working with some of the best on the Big Island. You're working around realtors. What's your 2 cents on this?
I think as a first year realtor, to be able to sell a home a month, you really need to tap into your sphere. It is a business, and building up that business clientele is going to take time. But if you, as soon as you hit the ground running, you tap into your sphere, it's totally possible to have that and sell a home, your first home in a month.
There you go. Tap into that network. The network is key. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, let me give some perspective to this because there's statistics. There's over 8,000 realtors on Oahu. 62% of them do 0 to 1 transaction in the past year. 82 did 0 to 5. 92 did 0 to 10. So if you're going to be first year at doing 12 or more, you're blowing the odds on the stats. There's only 174 of us on Oahu that did 20 or more transactions last year. I did almost 40 by myself. So the statistics do not put you in that category of 1 per month. Just right.
Scott, you're definitely in the top 0.001%, not top 1%, top 0.001%. Excellent. That is one hell of it. I didn't realize those are some crazy stats, but the stats that Scott is giving these are the stats of life. These same, you could almost overlay the statistics on restaurant owners. You could overlay it on car salesmen, entrepreneurs, successful businesses, successful artists, successful YouTubers. Those statistics are really all the same. It's really the top very, very small percentage is what does it. But at the same time, to a general point, it can be done. It can be done because people are doing it all the time. And it doesn't require anything special. It just requires that you work your butt off is what it takes. You got to work your butt off and don't stop until you get to where you go. That's my 2 cents. Circling back on Norm here, the feeling of safety in the Aloha spirit is why we're choosing the Big Island to live out the rest of our days. Norm, well said. You and so many others. Yeah, you and also this. Here's what's cool, Norm. Right, you're able to do this. And for the same reason that you're making the move is the same reason why the ultra rich are buying $10 million homes on Oahu, because they feel that is that same thing. Except, Norm, we're getting it for a deal, right? Wes says, yes, thank you, Scott. We feel like we have a gem more every day. Well, Wes, you did right, buddy, because you're with the best, and now, and that's where it's at. You work with Scott, someone who's been doing this for 20 years and sold, is in the top 0.1% of the market is kind of where you want to be. Funny about that, I have to say, Scott, when I first circled back to you and said, hey, why don't we do this thing together? I knew you were really good at what you did. But I didn't have any stats, but it's just because I've known you for 20 years, almost 20 years, 10 years easy, over 10 years, well over 10 years, maybe 20 years. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, I think I said 20 years practically. Jesus. But anyway, that's why I picked you. And hey, so Kelley says that Kelley is the best. There you go. See that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You just got to be the best. Thanks. I'll be emailing Scott as soon as I'm licensed, or perhaps early. Yeah. Well, Kailua, that's you have an incredible offer from Scott. That is priceless. JD Reynolds, 100% agree. Yep. Yeah, JD. There you go, buddy. That's what it's all about. And Auntie Joy says, Norm, great plan, just like we did. That's where it's at, folks. That's where it's at. All right, why don't we do this? Let's see how much time that we got. We got a little bit of time, but let's just kind of plug into this. Let's flip over to our diamonds and deals sections. Let's kind of flip into this and see what we got, and we'll take it from there. And if we have some more time, we'll take some more questions. And make sure, gang, I think I got everybody's questions. If I missed your comment, please resubmit. The person who jumped in at the very beginning hoping to get some insights, if you didn't get your question answered, please pop it in so we can kind of see it. All right, let's see what we've got over here. This is Maui Kaidi's not. Oh, did I mention? I may not have mentioned this, so let me just mention that. Heidi's not here with us. She last minute cancellation. In case your folks are wondering, I don't think I mentioned in the beginning. Heidi's not here with us. She had a last minute cancellation, couldn't make it. Sends her regards. She will be with us on the next show. All right, let's hit this one. So let's why don't we, oh, I think I'm gonna say, let's save this. So let's do this. Let's go with Kelley's property first. Kelley, this is interesting. This is the first time we've had this kind of a property. Why don't you spell this out for us and why you picked it and why you think it's interesting?
Yes, I wanted to highlight this property because here in Kailua, Kona, it is rare to find land that you can build on, right? And this is a rare opportunity to build on a residentially zoned, located right in the heart of Kailua, Kona. It's already leveled, graded, ready to build. And you can see it's not far from the ocean. So if that's something you're looking into, this listing is by someone on my team. Absolutely reach out, but definitely a little rare opportunity here.
So is this is that sort of apartment unit in the middle there with the parking lot that's around it? Is that the property that we're looking at?
It is. It is. It's right next to that building there. So it's 8,217 square feet. It's not massive, but the location, it's prime. It's right in the middle of Kailua, Kona.
Now, is that, out of my curiosity, is that a home there or like an apart or a multi-dwelling unit there that's on the property right now?
It's a multi-dwelling unit. Yes.
How many units on that?
I believe
Do you know?
12, possibly
12. Okay.
12.
So basically what I'm kind of hearing is that there's a 12 unit, is this right? A 12 unit building, a 12 flat, sort of a 12 flat, if you will, a 12 flat for 900,000 on the Big Island. Is that what this is?
This is just land. So it's actually the land right in front of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for the
just
clarification. So,
land. Yes.
because I'll say for a 12 flat for 900K, that'd be like gone already. Okay, so it's the land it's that empty lot in front of that building, basically.
Yes, absolutely. And so if you
Got it.
are looking to build and you want to be right in Kona, this is a great opportunity.
This is where to do it. Absolutely. Got it. Great. Thanks. Excellent. Great. Hey, gang, you have any questions about this property? Just let us know. Pop it in the comments. I'm going to save the interesting one along with the theme. Scott, all I see is blue here. My God. Kailua Oceanfront, 8-bedroom, 10.5 baths, $30 million. Man,
Yep.
You know what the funny part is, Scott? I think I've been on this property, but I'm not sure. But go ahead. What is this? Jeez.
Well, you should. If you haven't, then I need to take you because this is the Islander Ohana compound that will be coming up.
There you go.
Since I was talking about the luxury market and the ultra luxury market, I figured I'd show this is the second highest listing on Oahu right now. It's Kailua Beachfront, which Kailua Beach has been voted the #1 beach in the world 2 times. And so this home there's 11,000 square feet of covered living space. That includes lanais and things. You're a little more than 8,000 square feet of interior space, 8 bedrooms, 10.5 baths. And the interesting thing, and you'll see this a lot in Kailua, and most people don't know this, is, the winds come in off the beach side. So this pool section you're looking at, and you see the house in the main photo and the house in the distance, the beach is actually on the other side of the house. And why some architects have started to design that way is the wind comes in pretty strong off of the ocean, and the house provides as a buffer. So when the winds are up and you don't want to be on the beach, you don't want to get exfoliated, you can come and enjoy your pool area in relative calm and without the wind obstruction. However, the upper left picture shows that space in the main house where you have pocket doors and it leads out to the ocean side. So you're really kind of able to connect the two together. But 2/3 of an acre on the ocean in Kailua for a little more than 30 million. It's a beautiful property. They've done a phenomenal job with it.
Was this? I think that U shape around the pool is what really reminds me. Scott, I think I went to visit this when they first built it, and this was got to be about, man, it's probably another 10 years ago or so. Time just kind of flies. It was sold for like 18 million. It was like the highest listing back then. I can't remember. Do you have you want to share about that, Scott?
I don't know if it was sold before, but it was built in 2012, and then they renovated it in 2021. So it's got a fresh renovation to it. But I mean, great property, unbelievable.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure this was the one, because I was a friend of a friend, and we went to visit this on some kind of a crazy tour, and we looked around, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it, like, back when it first sold, it was like the highest. It sold as though it was one of the highest listings sold or whatever. I think it was 18. I think it was 18 million. If I that's the number that pops in my
Yeah,
head.
that would have been right around that time, because the recently 25 million was our top sale. So then, yeah.
Yeah. So imagine this, gang. Right. It's like 10 years ago. Let's just say if these numbers are right. Right.
Double your
I mean,
money, right?
geez,
Almost.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and it's not doubling like it's not like from $300,000 to $600,000. It's from $18 million to $30 million. Like unbelievable, yeah. And Jones says breathtaking, looks like a movie set. I mean, it really it's great. I mean, the photographer was amazing to kind of shoot this to take that shot with the blue sky above, kind of a twilight sort of a sense, and the blue pool below. It is amazing, and those pocket doors, crazy stuff. All right, and Max Sal says, yeah, let's all chip in. I'm ready. Let's do it, man. That would be, that would
I
be.
always joke it's layaway program, right? We'll get it in like 30, 40 years when we've paid it off.
There you go. Excellent. All right, gang. So hey, we got a few minutes left. Let's see what we got a few minutes left. If you'd like to this is your sort of last chance to kind of pop in the questions. Let's just do this. Let's just move on. We're going to kind of bring it up and maybe a little bit early, but that's all right. It's perfect. Like, let's move into our closing thoughts and maybe have a little bit of maybe an extended discussion about this. So, all right. So here we go, gang. Last chance. You got some questions? Pop them in. We're running a little bit early on the show, which is great. But if you got something that you'd like to know at the last minute, anything you want to talk about or share, please do. In fact, why don't we do this? I know what we're going to do. I got it right here. So we're going to closing thoughts. Those of you that have been around, you know what this is about. We talk about closing thoughts, motivational kind of things, closing things to think about. What's your motivational thought for today? Pop it in the comments. Let's get the group closing thoughts. That'll make it fun. All right. So why don't we do this? So Kelley, why don't you kind of open it up over here? Tell us what your quote is and what it means. Why is it? What is it about that speaks to you about this quote?
Yes, I heard this. So this Gary Brecka, had the pleasure of going to a conference in Dallas, Texas this past week. And my whole team went. There was like 17 of us, and it was amazing learning all the goods of real estate. And this Gary Brecka, he is a biohacker and deals with DNA and biohacking. And he said this, and this is his quote: "The presence of oxygen is the absence of disease." And that is just stuck with me. And he just mentioned that breathing is the best absence of disease, just by breathing, by taking time out of your day and doing something that's so natural, but we forget, and do some deep breathing. And that's really stuck with me. And I'm using that moving forward, doing some more meditation and really taking time to just breathe. And the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease.
Excellent. So in short, breathe deep, right? just breathe. Just breathe. Look, in all of the if you look at all of the Eastern religions, actually most religions of one type or another, it's all about breath, the breath of life. Ha is the Hawaiian word for breath, and it is the breath of life. So well said. And Aloha and says, "Carpe diem, seize the day, seize the day, seize the day." Excellent, thank you. All right, Scott, what's yours, and what does it mean to you?
Every day comes bearing its gifts. Untie the ribbon. And it goes back to just kind of, for me, having the positive mentality, because no matter what, there's always moments in a day where you could focus on the negative and whatnot. And every day is special. There's always something to take hold of and embrace and focus on. And to me, it's on the positive side of things. And every day is different and unique. So it is a special gift. And so untie the ribbon. Enjoy that day.
Untie the ribbon, enjoy the day, carpe diem. Those are all the things. I think the untie the ribbon is all about. There's that, for some reason, what popped in my head, Scott, is I don't know if you guys heard about the pony and the pile of manure story. So there's right. Okay. So this is a good one. So there's this little boy, and he's got this really super positive attitude, and he's been shown a big pile of manure, and he starts digging through the manure, and it's like, "Kid, what are you doing? It's a big pile of horse manure." He goes, "Yeah, but there's got to be a pony in there somewhere." And so that was the fun part that I really enjoyed about that. Norm says, I try to remember no matter what I'm going through, there is someone going through much, much more than me, and be good with where I am. Yeah, well said, Norm. Well said. To put that into my what that means to me personally, Norm is like, there's always somebody better and there's always somebody worse. So whether it's economically, there's someone who's better than you economically. There's someone who's worse off than you economically, health, better, worse, etc. Be happy with where you're at. Be happy with where you're at, because you're never gonna be at the top, unfortunately, and fortunately, you're never gonna be at the bottom. So, got that. Auntie Joy says, pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is a waste of time. Stay safe, everyone. Have a great long weekend. Thank you, Auntie Joyce. That is so true. There's a great line pops in my head in the New Testament where Jesus talks about don't worry. There's, the lilies of the field don't worry, and there's more of them than there ever will be of you. And if they don't worry, neither should you. These are great. Stefan, okay, we got a comment about that. All right, so here, work and save to make my dream come true in owning a home in Hawaii within 10 years. There you go, master. Just keep that, hold that thought. Hold that thought. This is great quotes. Spread love everywhere you go. JD, can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that. Excellent. This is great stuff, gang. You are all absolutely fabulous as usual. Impressed and blown away as the piece. All right, so here's mine for today. As you all know, I'm going to give you a Proverbs, but I'm going to hit Joan first. So Joan says, "Look beyond immediate appearances." Excellent books. It's like kind of like the old "Never Judge a Book by its cover," right? Excellent. Thank you, Joan. Appreciate that. Here's mine from Proverbs: "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to want." Right. So there's your that flips back into the realtor comment. How to be a successful realtor. Kailua. By the way you get a hold of Scott, you could either reply back on the newsletter. There's a form in the description, either one of those, or just you could look up Scott in the. I'm sure you could do a search for Scott on the internet and find him that way. Either way, easy to get a hold of us. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to want. So what does this tell you? It's like, look, you're going to get there. Diligent, right? The plans of the diligent lead to abundance. So what does that mean? That means you stick with it. That means you don't let go. That means you don't stop. That means you kind of keep going until you get there. You will get there if you don't stop. The only thing that's going to stop you from success is when you stop. But everyone who is hasty comes only to want. Haste is to say, we had a brief conversation about this off camera before the show started. Some people want sort of an immediate response. They want an immediate gratification. If I don't get what I want right away, I'm going to walk away from it. Those who are hasty come only to want. All right, gang. I think we got that. Let's see. We got some other stuff that came over here. So Judy, thanks, Judy, for sharing with us. Judy says, don't retire from something. Have something to retire to. Excellent. Have something to retire to. Hawaii for me. Yes, Judy. Judy, I know that you've been so talk about someone who's been diligent. Judy, you've been kind of going, this is like a multi-year process for you. So it's been really fun to kind of see your process in doing this. Norm says we started dreaming in 1998 about living in Hawaii, probably coming in spring of 23. That's the diligent. That is diligence. This is great. Thank you all for these great examples of like this wisdom in action. Norm, so appreciate you sharing that. It's a great example of diligence. And Auntie Joy says, great job, Kelley. I think that's the way we're going to end it. Great job, Kelley. So Kelley, it's been great having you. Why don't we do this? Let's say goodbye, everybody. We're going to go clockwise. You first, Kelley, then you, Scott. Say goodbye.
It was a pleasure being here. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend, folks. Enjoy. And well, I'm gonna have a 4-day weekend. I'm taking off right now, so I'm gonna have Friday off, and then Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Enjoy a great Labor Day weekend. Wherever you are, that's where you'll be. Enjoy it. Make the most of it. Thank you all so much. Have a great one. Aloha, everyone.